the last video, we had made some changes to our view. Basically, we added these custom text modifier and custom button modifier. So what I was thinking is that we should at least once check like how is it all turning out to be, and hopefully it would look fine only because like we just removed those modifiers and clubbed them together into one single modifier. So I don't think so that there would be a lot of changes. Meanwhile, what we can do is that we can fold these functions, because now we are going to write functions for fetching the post and everything. So that is one important step as well. Let me just quickly fold these functions while the app is building, and the sign up function here, and then you have sign in function. We had a sign out function as well. We have a check authentication method. So this is there, and I think our app has built it. So the build is complete, I mean. So let's just see. And meanwhile, when it's building, we can, okay, so it has built. What we will do now is that we'll go to settings, we will do a sign out. Now here in the email, we actually need to sign in. So crollo@gmail.com, and the password would be password. And okay, so I think it's not Gmail but email. Okay, I did not notice that I added a W here, so sign in. This is also wrong, so let's do Gmail. Okay, yeah, so this works fine, and as you saw that the fields are looking fine, only the buttons and all. So yeah, the functionality works perfectly fine. So now we can move on to some major tasks. Basically, now we would add another published property here, and this would be a published var post. These are the posts that we would fetch for each particular user, and let's just make it an empty array for now because we have to initialize it with an empty array basically. Now we can write functionality for fetching post of a user. So what we would do now is that first of all we would write an asynchronous function which would actually reference the Firestore database and all, and then we would write a public function as well which would actually utilize that private function. Similarly, what we followed for creating and adding a post, and also like we did for fetching a database user, so similar functionalities here as well. So let's just start by writing private func. We can write fetch user post data. Now what parameter, what function argument it needs is basically needs a user ID. So here we would write in the argument, it would be of the type async throws, and it gives it returns a value of type post basically. Now we open the function. Now again we use db as the Firestore database instance, so firestore.firestore should be here. Now we can create, let's call this collection a constant basically, which uses try await, and what it does is that it writes db.collection inside users. Now we fetch a specific document with user ID, and then we access the collection again. The collection name would be post. As you can see here, the collection name here is post for this particular user, and this is users, so that is why we are doing this. Now what we could do is we can write get documents, so it should actually fetch all the documents inside of this. Let me just quickly adjust it a bit. So yeah, it would fetch all the documents inside the collection post. Now what we can do is we can create another constant, let post equals try collection dot documents dot map. And so map is a higher order function basically we use in Swift, and what we can do is we can try casting all the post data as post dot self basically. So this would essentially do is that to uh, we got to know about all the documents. Now what we are doing is that we are mapping them and converting them into a post structure, this post structure that we have defined here. And lucky for us that we have made it similarly, entirely similar to the post we have here. So that is why the casting won't be an issue. So map is essentially used to convert one type to another type. So that is what we are doing here. And then we can just return our post. So this is there. I hope this function is like pretty straightforward as per what we were doing up till now. So fetch user post, and now we don't need to take any arguments or anything, so we can just write card let user id equals auth class dot auth instance dot current user dot uid, else we can just return from here. And now what we would do is we would open a task, and inside the task closure we would add do catch block. So yep, and inside do we would just do let post equals try await fetch user post data. We can pass in our user id, and then we can have a dispatch queue because we have to update our published property with this, and this published property will show directly onto the UI screen. So we are doing it inside a dispatch queue, and we can have self.post is equal to post, and we can add a success print also that fetched user post and colon this, and we can add posts here basically. So this is what we have done, and in the catch block for now we can just type in an error which would say error fetching user post, and then we can have error dot localize description. So okay, just revising through the whole concept, we wanted to fetch the post for a particular user. For that we wrote a private function first because that would be an asynchronous function. Then we just wrapped it inside a public function. So coming back to our private function, it is of the type async throws, and it returns a type array of post. And then what we did is that we referenced the Firestore instance, then we accessed the collection and got all the documents from there. And now we're converting all those documents that we get one by one via the map function into a post. That is what we are essentially doing here. And I think post yeah, so post conforms to the type codable as well. That is why it is possible. If we were to remove that codable property, I believe that I don't think so it should work out. So let's just see for ourselves. Yeah, exactly. So basically it does not conforms to the type decodable because we are decoding each and every document we get from this post collection, and then we are converting it to a post type inside our Swift tab, because Firebase is not aware of our Firebase is not basically aware of our own structure, right? It just gives us a post type that is defined here within itself, and we have only created this, so it's simpler for us so that we can just decode it back to a post type. We upload it as a post type, we decode it back as a post type. So we have done this much. And since we have done this much, I think we need to add published properties for all of these. Let me just go inside. So basically right now we are hard coding these values, but this is not the right way to do it, right? Because we want the user to give inputs. So in order to do that, let's just first add all the published properties that the user will need. So our task becomes easier. So let's just start by published var, and let's call it hero image. Basically this would be the very first image at upfront. So that is why I'm naming it hero image. And then we can have published var playlist URL, which would be of the type string, and giving it a default value of empty string. And now we can just copy this thing out, paste it a couple of times. We can have place name, we can have budget, we can have nightlife rating, we can have safety rating, just quickly checking the spellings, okay, and we can have cleanliness rating as well. So there you go. What else do we need? I think we need couple more. So let's do transport rating. Then we would have best cafe image, which would be of the type UI image optional. And then we would have best cafe caption, which would be of the type string. Then we would have, we can copy these two out and paste them here, because we would have now is best stay image, and we would have best stay caption. So this is there. Now what we can do is we have stay image, stay caption. Let's add one more, and this would be must carry things. So must carry things. This is there. So I think we have covered all of them. So there's the hero image. Let's just give it a space here. To hero image is there, playlist URL is there, place name is there, budget, nightlife, safety, cleanliness, transport, best cafe caption, best stay caption, and must carry things. So yeah, this is fine. Now what we could do is that inside our upload image and create post, we would need not to just work around with the selected image, but instead we would have okay, so now what we can do is that we can remove the selected image and we would use the hero image instead. So I think it's giving me some error, so we can have hero image. If we move forward, I think it should give me more errors, I believe, or either maybe no. I think there should be one more error inside our user profile view. So that will come out shortly, but coming to our view, so similarly that we did for, hero image, what we can do now is that we can type in here as well. We can add a comma here, and then we can write it for, let's give it tab. So now it should be best cafe image. We can do this. Now we can have let, oops, it should be let best stay image equals best stay image, no, best stay image. This is there, and we can move the else to here, and the return statement is okay. So what I was thinking is that let it just return some value like a boolean or something, and we can return false here. And I'll quickly explain you why I did that, why did I add a boolean value. Moving forward in the video, I would see that we have an image URL which is using the hero image, so that is there, but then we need to do it 3 times now, and this would be cafe image URL, and this would be best cafe image, and then we have stay image URL, and this would be best stay image, right? So yeah, these things are there, and I think let's just give it a spacing, and on the top let's remove this, so looks fine to me. So this is there. Now that we have done this much, for the post, let's just go. The post ID should be like this only. The owner ID should be user ID. Image is absolute URL image. Playlist URL would be our playlist URL. Place name would be our place name. budget would be our budget, and for the ratings we would actually have nightlife rating here, then we would have the safety rating here, then we would have the cleanliness rating, then we would have the transport rating as well. So these things are in place. Now for the best cafe image we would have best cafe cafe image URL dot absolute string, and here we would have best cafe caption, and here I would have stay image URL dot absolute string. Here we would have best stay caption, and the must carry things should be must carry things only, the published property we just created. So this is there, we can add an enter here and we can add an enter here as well. Give it a tab, so something like this, and it could have a tab as well. So looks something like this. I think it's cleaner in a way. Let's give it a bit of less. Yeah, this looks fine to me. So we have this functionality, add post to user and all, and here we can add return true, and here we can add return false. So this is there, and our functionality is completed. And let's just see, where are we calling our upload image and create post. So not here, it's inside add post to user, I believe. uh, is it should it be upload image and create post? Okay, yeah, this works fine. So now that we have done this much, now we would create a create post view. So let's just go inside the view property, the view folder, and here we would create a new file and work with create new post. So this would be, I will be shortly resuming this, so I hope to see you in the next video. And again, if you have any, let's just run the app once, because I wanted to see if there are any errors, because we just changed the selected image published property. So I believe we should get at least one error. This is there, and it should be hero image. Is there any other error? So yeah, hero image, this is there. Now I believe the app should build fine, and let's just quickly see to it. If it builds, it's perfectly fine. And yes, so in the next video we'll continue working with create post view, and then we would actually just create that view and test out the whole functionality, this time with different images, and all the user inputs would be unique. So I hope to see you in the next video. And again, if you have any doubts, you could just reach out to me. So yeah, through the comments and everything. So okay, I hope to see you in the next video.